This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome aboard for your very own live and interactive safari, and a very warm welcome to the 52 families from across the world joining us. We've got Canada, USA, South Africa, as well as Scotland and the United Kingdom. My name is Trishal, and I've got Davy on camera this afternoon. It's a beautiful afternoon. It's just that wonderful wintry, but not quite. It's 28 degrees Celsius, 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's a stunning day out here on Djuma Private Game Reserve in South Africa. We hope to find you lots of animals. So thank you, kiddies, for jumping on board. I'm so excited to have you. We're going to be looking for many a little critter, much like yourself, to show you. Now, my plans today include going to Chitwa, where there's that big dam. Hopefully we'll see a croc. James had a croc in there yesterday. And we've had lots of questions about when do we see crocodiles. Hopefully we'll see one today. Remember, if you'd like to ask us any questions, which I hope you would, please use kids questions at WildEarth.tv to chat to us. Ooh, hello red-billed buffalo weavers. Might just get them above us, so you're going to fly away just in time. Yes, you are. That's okay, we've got an Impala ram who's going a little bit crazy there. Oh, it's a very lively Impala, and he's running off. And Impalas seem to be the animals of the day already, because Rowan at andBeyond in Ngala seems to have one also. But I think his is just slightly less lively than ours is.
Yeah, ours is not lively at all. Good afternoon, everyone, and especially good afternoon to all the kids and families joining us for the next 45 minutes. Looking forward to all your questions and comments. So what we have here is a dead Impala. You can basically only see the horns now, and what we've done is decided to actually park a way off, see if any of these vultures circle back down. When we just arrived, there were about 30 of them on the ground, and they just flew off. There's not too much left. It's actually rather astonishing, because I got a message from Beatrice, who's our general manager, and Aaron, who's our reserve manager, about 40 minutes ago, saying there was an Impala carcass here, like quite fresh still, and only one hyena. And it just goes to show how quickly vultures and hyenas cleaned this up for us. So likely scenarios that's gone through my head was either this Impala died because of another Impala, because while we've been sitting here, you've just been hearing Impalas ratting everywhere around you. So maybe a fight gone wrong. Maybe it got killed by that hyena that was here a little bit earlier with Beatrice and Aaron. Maybe there's a cheetah in the area that could have taken it down and then got chased off by the hyena. So I'm really not too sure. I've decided not to walk into there because I don't want to disturb it too much, especially if the vultures do decide to come back. But we're not going to sit here for too much longer. Sarah from Switzerland wants to know, why do predators eat other animals? Sarah, it is just their way of life. It is their diet. So a predator is known to eat meat or be majority of the time carnivores. So for them, it's not that they can't choose to just change their diet to grass and leaves. Therefore, they won't survive. So for them to be able to survive, to sustain themselves, they have to kill and eat other animals, like this unfortunate Impala in front of us. Quite a big male. You can see the horns are, well, the horn sticking up is rather large. But yeah, not too much activity around here for now. See, I've also been thinking there might have been a leopard in this area, but usually what leopards do, if they lose, oh, here's a vulture coming in. No, it landed in the tree behind it. Okay, so if a leopard loses a carcass like this, often they will stick around and see if they can actually steal the carcass back. And so far there's been absolutely no sign of a leopard. So we're going to sit here for a little while longer. If nothing changes, we'll move out and we'll go try find a leopard. But for now, we're going to send you to James, who also just wants to say hello for the afternoon with the little grebe.
Hello everybody, and welcome to this end of the Sunset Safari. We're sitting here at our favourite little spot to start with our little grebes. And the little grebes are now old enough to be left on their own on the nest, and they're just resting quietly there, which is quite fun. My name is James Henry. On camera is Owen. Hello, Owen. And we are really enjoying the sight of those two little things. If you have been watching for some time, you'll know that there were 4 eggs, but we think that the other 2 eggs are unfortunately gone. But it's so special to have them there. That nest does seem to be a little further away from the shore than the other nest, so they've moved nests. The first one's right in front of us here. They've moved nests, but I think that's a dangerous place for them to be, because they're very close to where the water monitors like to live, or like to bask in the sun. And as we've discussed, the water monitors will devour these little chaps if they can get at them. So I'm not sure that it's a great place for them to be, but, you know, I'm not a little grebe parent. I'm sure they know best. You can hear the parents calling. They keep doing these little flies, or I don't know what they're doing exactly, flying across the surface of the water. It's very sweet. Just watch the adults there, because they're doing this rather amazing little fly. Let's see if they do it again. They've been doing it so nicely. Now, naturally, they seem to have finished. Yeah, there they go. That's what they're doing. They do this fly across the surface and then dive down as they do it. It's almost as if they're trying to sort of build up some momentum before they dive under the water. And you're all enjoying the fact that we've been following these grebes for a little while now. And you know why it's so special? Is that we're watching a life history unfold. It's not just like meeting an animal for the first time and then not seeing it again. It's following the life history of these little things, because we watch them from eggs. And of course that's what makes many of our leopard characters so compelling. The fact that we've watched them for so long, and sometimes from the day they were born. We get to watch their whole lives unfold, which is very special. There they go, doing their funny little skitty thing across the water. Hello, Liam and Zach. We certainly do get blue waxbills. Do you like blue waxbills? I like blue waxbills very much. I like all the little finch-type birds, and we do get them here. I'll try and find you one. They are around, and I should be able to find you one. It's not like they're rare, but we'll see if we can find you one. Tiny little blue bird, for those of you who don't know. Looks like a little finch. It is a little finch, and often hangs around with firefinches and green-winged pitilias, actually. One of our favourite birds. Owen and I both love the green-winged pitilia. Let's have one last look at the babies and then we'll think about, oh, look at that. Isn't that brilliant? And look at the way the water's sparkling. Oh, that's perfect. That looks like such fun, doesn't it? It's just gone skitting over the hippopotamus's head, and the hippo just kind of stuck his head up going, what? Wonder if she found any food for them. Now, if you weren't watching this morning, we watched these little guys, one dive under the water on their own for the first time. I haven't seen it before. And also, we watched them on their mum's back, and she dived under the water with them on her back, which was very cool to see, because I didn't think that would happen. I really didn't think that she'd go underwater with them. Hello, Dawn in Singapore, as we look at a dragonfly there. Dawn, grebes eat any kind of insect that they can find in the water. They'll eat tadpoles, probably, small frogs. I guess if there were tiny fish, they might try and catch those too. But it's mainly insects and in other kinds of invertebrates, creepy crawlies, that sort of thing. These are the kinds of things you could sit and watch all day. Right, well, Rowan has managed to find something that is gazing up into the tree, as hopefully as he is gazing up into the tree where that impala is, unfortunately, well, not so much resting as being.
Right, so we definitely found the culprit who had more of his or her fair share of this carcass. It's still drooling. And big yawn and lots of teeth. So there's the hyena. You can just see the belly is huge. Very comfortable. And also very hot. It is what? 28 degrees Celsius, 82 Fahrenheit. It turned out to be a rather hot afternoon, so yeah, even, I mean, trying to digest an entire impala carcass, yes, I'm struggling. James is from Canada, 99, wants to know, why do hyenas scavenge and not hunt? So James, they do hunt. So common misperception to think that hyenas cannot hunt for themselves. Actually quite likely that this impala, it's as likely this impala was killed by a hyena that it might have been killed by a leopard or a cheetah. So yeah, they do hunt for themselves. Actually very, very successfully. It's just that they are known to be incredible scavengers as well, and I think it's just due to their amazing ability to survive anyway. So it depends, you know, if it's easier to scavenge, then they'll scavenge. If it's easier to hunt, then they'll hunt. He keeps looking back, maybe hearing sounds, but so far in the back I can't see anything approaching. There was a jackal, a black-backed jackal running around here a little bit earlier, maybe scuffling through a bit of the grass. Other than that, no other sign of a predator. Just this hyena. Yes, it's a big belly. Very, very full. Graham wants to know if vultures only eat carcasses. So yes, Graham, they eat carrion. So yeah, from carcasses. However, and this is a little bit gross, but they also eat poo. So I've often seen them pick through hyena and lion and leopard poo, or even wild dog poo. But yeah, majority of the time are dead things They don't hunt for themselves. Not a pleasant thought, is it? But obviously they get all the nutrients from the poo even. All the blood, all the carrion. This hyena looks quite comfy. Lily and Cora, not like my laugh. Marcel?
No, can't do it.
Marcel says he cannot do that. Lily and Cora, I'm sorry to tell you, but you might want to Google that. I'm afraid
It's more of a cackle than a laugh.
now if I giggle at this hyena, then maybe this hyena takes it in the wrong way, or maybe I giggle in the wrong way and it gets angry at us. I'd rather not, or cackle at it right now. Very interesting sound. I love it. It's one of my favorite sounds in the bush. Actually, all hyena noises, the whooping, the cackling, but you only ever hear it when they fight over a carcass. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna, oh, look at those teeth. Massive. We're gonna leave this hyena, let it rest, let it work off its food. Check a big clearing up ahead and then continue. Maybe try and make our way to that leopard that we saw this morning. But for now, you're going back to James. It seems like the little grebe is swimming.
The little grebes have come off their nest and they're having a lovely swim with Mum and Dad. I don't know about you guys, but I remember when I was a kid, all I wanted was for my parents to come swimming with me. My brother and I would always go swimming, and my sister, and we'd beg my parents to come in. My mother very seldom did, and my father sometimes did. And that's what these guys are doing all the time, swimming around with their folks. Derek, I don't know the answer to that. I get asked it, I think, once a day, and I'm afraid I don't know how long they can hold their breath underwater. The longest I've seen them underwater is probably about a minute. And now they're doing some feeding. But I don't know if a minute is their limit or if they can stay in there for longer. I suspect not much longer than that, though, no. I mean, this is just too cute to see those little things swimming around, but I can't help thinking it's very dangerous. Well, Tom, you know, that's not something that has a particularly simple answer. Why do they live in the water? They live in the water because that's how they're designed to live. So evolution has blessed them with the features that allow them to live in the water because it's a good place for birds to live that like to eat what they like to eat. So in the water, there are certain kinds of insects which are edible, but there is a limited way of catching those insects. And so if you are designed like a grebe is with those kinds of legs and that sort of thing, well, then it's a good place for you to live. And so it lives in the water because there's lots of food for it to eat in the water. Not a lot of other birds can eat the things that it eats with the designs that it has. Does that make sense? I'm sure you didn't mean to ask a complicated question, but actually it's a very interesting and complicated question that it's quite tricky to answer, but I think that gives you a basic idea. Cooking over here. The sun is shining off this water onto our faces and burning us. Alice May and Paige in the United Kingdom, these grebes are apparently with their parents for about 52 days. That's what we're told, 52 days. So in about 2 months they'll go off. Well, they probably won't go off. They'll hang around their parents, I suspect. But they'll be in and around the nest for 52 days odd. So that's just over 2 months. And they have brought a lot of green back to the nest there, haven't they? Poor little thing. I hate seeing it just lying in the water like that. It's because I feel like it doesn't understand all the dangers. I know you've heard them calling a lot this afternoon. They go like this. I'll play it for you, but then you might just hear them do it themselves. Let me find it in my little app and then I'll play it for you. That's what they sound like. They make that call, and then they make a very gentle kind of peeping sound. They go peep, peep. And they make those little peep, peep sounds when they're just trying to get in contact with each other. Now, they're constantly building on the nest, I suspect, because the nest might actually sink if they didn't keep doing that. Because I think the water eventually starts rotting. Is that the little one trying to help on the nest? No, it's the adult. Is it? It's a little one. That's very funny. And look at the dragonfly watching this little scene unfold, enjoying our little grebes as much as we are. That's beautiful. Lovely to watch. Holly, the grebe's nest is made of sticks, mossy green kind of algae stuff. That's a really terrible biological description, but that's what it is. Mossy green type algae stuff, grass, leaves, other reeds, that sort of thing. Anything that will float, but mainly sticks and things like that. And apparently it is anchored. Now, I don't know how it's anchored. Maybe it's just built up from the bottom. I don't know how the mechanism of it being anchored works, but by anchored I mean it's attached to the ground. And that means that if the water levels rise, because I got this wrong once, I said if the water levels rise, the nest would just float with them. It doesn't. It can cause a loss of eggs. All right, Hyena is now returning to around where Rowan is. We're going to move on from here. It's getting a bit steamy in the sun. See if we can find something coming down to another waterhole to drink.
I returned very quickly, and now it's like he's taken the whole, well, what's left of what he left over, he's taken back. So he's taking it to the road, which is quite nice. So bear with me very quickly. And just reverse like this, and we should see him cross the road right now. Or in a little while. If my calculations were correct. Otherwise, he might take it to the shade. I often ask, you never know how these animals manage to just fit so much. Oopsie. Ella, good question. Depends. If it's a leopard, they can take it up a tree, and by doing that, they actually save it for themselves, so they can stay quite a long time. And here comes Hyena, Marcel. There we go. So it just depends on the circumstances, but I'd say probably a leopard that can take it up a tree. Oh, it's dragging this entire thing through. You see ribs and head. Huh. Taking the whole thing for himself. Okay, well, definitely doesn't want to come to the road. It does make sense, so he'll rather take it to shade and feed a bit more there. But Ella, again, lions being the apex predators, they often, especially in these areas, we have big prides of lions, so you'll need a lot of hyenas to almost scare them off their carcasses. so they could stay on a kill for quite some time. Cheetahs really, they don't. Actually, they're quite skittish predators, so they'll make a kill, eat from it as much as possible, and then go lie down quite a way away from it. So as when vultures are attracted to it and hyenas come into that area, they are already gone from it. And wild dogs usually just clean up anything that they kill very quickly. So do hyenas and vultures. So I would stick with a leopard if it manages to take its carcass up a tree. Probably stays on it for the longest time. How cool to watch this hyena drag that carcass away. Nice of him to come out here in the open and then take it back. Oh, going further into the shade. Mind you, it does not look like the easiest thing to carry. And that belly is already so full. Okay, so it's going to come out here on the road. Very cool view. Huh. There you go. Trying to run with it. Okay. Well, he's disappearing into a little bit denser vegetation. So we're quickly going to see if we can reposition. And for now, send you to Trish. I think she's with a massive herd of elephants.
I do have a great herd of elephants. And now you can see there's a bit of an elephant tussle going on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little one all together. They're playing a little bit. Oh, hello, you. You want to come say hi? Hello. Hi. She just wanted to pass. Hey, you. Hi. Oh, beautiful eyes. Beautiful eyes. She does. Everyone's having the time of, hello, oh, Davy, I'm so sorry to pull you away, but I have a troop coming towards me. They're trying to intimidate me, kids. I find them very intimidating. It looks like this female next to me just winked at me while these little ones are coming towards us. Now, we are in a dry riverbed. It's called the Mulwati. And that's where all these guys are hanging out today. It's nice and cool here. It's a bit shady. Oh, isn't that little one precious? Look at it playing in the sand. It's so important for little ones to play. That includes you guys as well. Look at that. All learn like couples work. How we can interact. Don't with your trunk, or with your hands in your case. They're doing something very cool. They're also practicing something. They're practicing their dust bathing. But this sand is not great for dust bathing, little ones. This is very rough sand. So it doesn't get stuck in the little grooves like the finer sand does. One final look before he runs off. There's lots of youngsters in this herd, which is just beautiful. Hi, Anastasia. You're 9 years old, and you'd like to know if elephants always move in groups? Elephants move in herds. That's what we call a group of elephants. And it's usually a mum or a few mums, even some grandmums, and their youngsters, so they're babies. So there can be lots of generations of females, we call them cows, and their babies in a herd, and they move together. Now males, we call them bulls. They move separately. Not always. A male, once they grow up, when they're about maybe 8 to 13 years old. Somewhere between then, they start to move away from the herd a little bit. They'll still maybe follow the herd around, but they stay back. And then once they get much older, past that into their 20s, then they're by themselves. And then males sometimes hang around together, and we call those a bachelor herd. And then they only come to visit the females when they want to mate. So they much prefer being with other elephants because they're very social. Oh, nom 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 nom. Hello, Linda. You're 6 years old and you're from the UK. You want to know why are these animals trying to throw sand on their backs? Well, that's exactly what they were trying to do, except that this sand is not the greatest sand to do so with. That's what I was getting at earlier. Hello. What they do is they like to get a little bit wet, and then they throw sand onto themselves so they become a little bit muddy. And when they become muddy, they can trap moisture into all those wrinkles in their skin. See how they're very wrinkly? Hey, you want to play? I can't play with you, I'm sorry. This one wants to play. Okay. So, Linda, what I was saying is they like to get all muddy and caked up. And then it traps all the moisture in between the little grooves that they have so they can stay cool. But it also means that they can go and scratch themselves on a nice branch in a tree, and they can pull off any insects or parasites that bother them. That's important because lots of animals out here in the wild do get little things biting them and bothering them, like you would have seen little flies all over. So they don't want that. They kind of use it like a waxing strip. Very cool. All right. Say bye-bye to those kitties now, Ellies. They're moving off. They're all moving up towards a tree, towards Twin Dam. So I think I may swing around and see if I can catch them. Then while I do that, I'll send you over to James, who's got another very large animal.
We have got a very large animal here. This large animal is, of course, the giraffe. There it is. And it is standing next to a stick that is very tall. And you can therefore see how tall the giraffe is. Yes? See? Now, giraffe is not on its own. We've been trying desperately to keep up with it and all of its friends. And it's with a male, a bull, and another 3, I think, lady friends. There's the bull, he's next to us, and I think he's trying to keep up with them simply because one of them may be ready to mate. Let's go a bit forward, I think. The male's just behind those bushes there, but there's a cow that's a bit closer to us this side. Nicholas, you are obviously a very clever fellow living in Switzerland. You want to know how a giraffe sleeps? Well, the first thing to say is that a giraffe doesn't sleep a lot. Apparently some giraffes sleep for as little as half an hour a day, which is a very short period, I'm sure you'll agree, given that human beings need to sleep on average. Well, I mean, my wife needs to sleep for 12 hours a day, but most of us need about sort of 6 to 8 hours a day. And the other thing to say, Nicholas, is that they sleep, and it's a really good question you've asked, because they can't just lie down with a head like that, because there are all sorts of complications with getting blood circulated around a body that tall and that shape. And so when they lie down, they have to fold their legs underneath them and then keep their heads upright. So sometimes they'll sleep standing up, just like that, And if they do lie down, they'll just fold their legs up underneath them and they keep the head up. If the head goes down, so if they go onto their sides and the head hits the ground or sort of comes to rest on the ground, they will find it extremely difficult to get up again. And the longer they spend in that position, the greater the pressure build-up in the brain from all the blood that's pumping, because the heart is designed to pump blood up to the brain, which is obviously quite a task, given how far away the heart is, at least the brain is, and how high it is, and the strength of gravity. And so as soon as you upset that balance by putting the head at a funny angle, it can create a tremendous pressure build-up in the brain. And so a giraffe can't keep its head down for long before it gets into real trouble. And it's why when you watch them drink, you see them only put their heads down briefly, and then they flick their heads back up again to try and get all the blood down. Good, that was a lovely little cameo from the giraffe. Let's go back to those elephants with Trishala now.
I decided to move earlier when I spoke to you, but then the light just became so much more beautiful. And they're just playing so nicely, so I decided I have to show it to you. They're having the time of their lives. There's a little one tucked away in there too. It looks like a little puddle of elephants. It's just the most stunning scene. I'm going to actually be quiet and let you enjoy just how beautiful it is. I love seeing elephants. Oh, two are trying to squeeze into the gap made for one. And that is not going to work. They are so entertaining. Elephants are, and especially, so I said we're in a dry riverbed. And there's banks on the side, and that's what these elephants are trying to get up, and that's why especially it's quite comical when they try to climb up things, because their body is very large. And they're not the most nimble looking creatures. But they do make it up, as that one at the top has, and now thinks, oh, I am king. I am elephant king, bow to me. Oh, now you want to try and get down. Equally funny. Oh, there's a little fight happening as well. There's one trying to climb up. I want to be king now. You get down. It's my turn. There we go. Oh, that was a little oopsie by one of... Oh, and again. Oh, kids. Hope you don't go walking around with your whole family and do that too. Oh, these guys are just entertaining me so much today. Oh, that is a top spot up there. Oh no! You can do it, you can do it. Oh no. Don't you want to be king of the castle? King of the Mulwati? young elephants are a pleasure to watch because they're so playful. I think they finally are going to head up to the dam soon, but they are taking their time. They're just having too much fun. There, in that spot again. Prime spot. Prime spot. And of course, just like when we play with our siblings, if your sibling does it, then it brings attention to it. Now everyone wants to do it. Before, it didn't matter. Holly, you'd like to know how old elephants are when they get their tusks? They're about 2 to 3 years old when you start to see them peeking out. Just a little. But before that, they have little things called tushes. And those are like milk tusks. You know how you have milk teeth? Tushes are like milk tusks. Because remember, tusks are modified teeth. They're modified in size of teeth. So they have little ones before that, and then those ones go away or they get reabsorbed. So the body takes it back in, and then the real tusks start to poke out around 3. And then they continue to grow and grow and grow. There was a bit of a trumpet in the background. Hello. I love when they lift their trunk up at me and point as if they're saying, I see you. You can hear some birds in the background. Those birds going blah, 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 blah. What do you think they're sounding like? They're sounding like they're babbling, don't you think? Blah, 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 blah. And that's because they're called arrow-marked babblers. Because they're babbling. I'm going to grab that name from you again, please, Kirsty. I thought it was, why do animals attack other animals? Lakitas, you'd like to know why some animals attack other animals. Oh, do elephants attack other animals? Elephants can, but it's not generally something that they need to do in order to survive. So you'll find that animals will attack other animals if it's necessary for their survival. So maybe they need to defend themselves because something can go after them, then they'll attack it. Or maybe that animal also wants to eat the same thing that they want to eat, so they'll attack it. Or they want to attack it because it's food. But for elephants, there's not many predators that will go after them. The youngsters, little babies, they can often be a little bit vulnerable. But other than that, elephants are not at risk too much. And they don't get hunted like, say, the antelope species do. They're too large. So they don't really attack other animals too much unless they feel threatened. Even then, it's always a little half-hearted. Oh, off they go now. Back into the bushes. And I'd like to say a very big thank you to the kids joining us. And now we'll invite everybody else to come on board with us and give us your questions and your comments using the hashtag WildEarth or the YouTube chat stream or Twitch, whatever you like. And while these elephants move off, I'm going to send you off to Rowan at andBeyond's Ngala. See what's going on with that carcass and those hyena or one hyena.
So we're still sitting with this hyena, and basically the reason for it, we just find it so intriguing to listen. Ah, there it goes, a leg in its mouth. Good timing, Trish. Oh. Back to feeding. Just so intriguing to listen to it crunching through all this bone. I'm sure you'll hear it now, that snapping sound. You can see also the way it's feeding as it goes down. Goes down, chews a bit, then head up, and it just looks around everywhere. Okay, there we go with the entire carcass. I don't know where you're taking it. You might as well just keep it in the shade. But it keeps looking back to where it originally had the carcass. Right, there goes the entire head. See the big horns there? Actually, some of the skin is draped over the body. I think it's coming straight back into the road now. Quite nice of it. Nice big open clearing. Spinal. Oh, okay. Well, just put it down right in front of us. This is so cool. Oh, now its foot is stuck in the skin. I don't know. You always feel like helping it.
Only if you'll agree to be my pet.
Marcel wants him as a pet. Marcel, this thing will be very stinky, and you better bath it. Oh, there we go. Go. Right. Head to one side, spine to the other side. Oh, cool. How nice of it to be dragging it right on the road. There we go. Oh, now it's turned right. I'm actually let's try get in front of it. So I'm gonna position him on our left. Yeah, Curse is also laughing, saying it's hysterical to watch its foot getting stuck. It's just gone to a new shady spot. Actually quite nice and open here. So let me know. Is that fine? It's making a run for it. Raya, their front legs are a lot longer than their back legs. Oh, it's behind them. For their strength, usually they open up a lot of carcasses and pull it around. So this makes them stronger to push back on very, very strong front legs. And then almost put all their weight back onto their hind legs. I'm just going to put him there again until he drags it a little bit more. I don't know why or where he's planning on taking this. It's not like he's going to take it up a tree like a leopard would. Just trying to drag it away from the vultures, maybe. Huh. There we go again. Quite a curious thing to watch a hyena dragging. Not even a lot left on this carcass. So here we go again. We're going to go up. This male impala on the right not even noticed that this hyena coming towards him with piece of an impala. Okay, there you've seen him now. What do you think this impala is thinking, watching all this go down? I knew him. We had a fight yesterday. That's so weird. Samantha, why is the hyena not taking the kill to the family? Maybe it is. We are going to find out soon. This is actually quite funny. He's got the horn stuck right in front of his face. Might be a little bit blinded on the right-hand side. Yeah, maybe he's taking it back to the den. So we are going to follow him for a while, see where he or she ends up. It might be a female. Let's see. You go, girl. There's not a lot left for the family. That's a lot. No, it's not a lot easier to carry. It's still a little bit awkward. Okay, we're going to stick behind it. Oh, it's weird to watch. Marcel says they walk with such a jump in their step. Don't know if he's talking about the dead impala or the hyena. That's doing quite well. Look at that belly. Kathy, it will eat the head in a little while. I think for now it's just trying to drag it away from the killing spot. So almost taking it away from where it died, so there's not... Oh, it's running now. Burning some calories. There's an entire herd of impala to our right. That's just watching all this go down. Yeah, Kathy, it's gonna basically eat this entire thing. Really, I think you'll find only horns left a little bit later, but otherwise it will eat all of it. Where are you going, Mr. Hyena? Mrs. Hyena. I'm gonna try to get in front of it again, give you a better shot. It's moving quite quickly now, so it's not getting stuck on the skin anymore, which is good for the hyena. There you go. Should be better. Coming straight towards us. Oh, it steps on the horn every now and then. It's really just not having an easy time. Let's stash it in that bush there and just finish it off. Looks quite content, eh? Ha! Well, that was very cool to see. He's still quite aware of everything that's going on, especially now. It covered quite a lot of ground right in the open. I think it might be going for water. Looking for a little bit of water. Or stalking another impala. What are you doing now? I like this hyena. Very active. And so, again, a lot of the time we say these animals are either nocturnal or diurnal, but hyena mostly nocturnal, but look at this thing. Look how active it is. Clear daylight. It's 28 degrees, very hot, and it's just going. Lots of activity. Just see it bouncing through the grass every now and then. Let's try and get around it this way. I do think it is going to look for water. It's running straight towards the Timbavati River. So it probably knows of a puddle here. And of course it's running because it doesn't want to leave the carcass for too long. Mambo's asking if hyenas eat bones, why don't they eat the horn? Mambo, because they don't really like the keratin layer on the bone. There's really nothing nutritious. Yeah, okay, it went into the river. This is where we're going to leave this very active hyena. There's really no nutrition in the keratin of the horn. And of course, there was no meat or protein on the horn itself, so there's no need for it. But otherwise, the ribs and the other bones had the blood, had the meat on the bone. So they still smell that and they want to taste it, which is why they just crunch the bone up as well. But with the horn, it doesn't contain that smell or the blood. Yes, how cool is that? I liked it. What an afternoon. What a good start. Okay, we're going to head further back west, see if we can pick up on any tracks of that young leopard we had. But for now, I'll send you back to James. He's got a white-faced whistling duck.
There we do have a white-faced whistling duck. We've got a whole group of white-faced whistling ducks. And I was looking at them and I thought there's a very strange-looking duck in amongst them. And then I looked a bit closer and it's one of the little grebes. And as we were watching, there is the grebe. As we were watching them swimming, the grebe dived under the water and started coming up underneath the duck in front. And the duck in front looked like it was being kind of hit from beneath by a small submarine. And it looked kind of harassed and kept fluttering forward slightly. And then the grebe would come up and swim next to them and then start the game again. It was really odd. I don't think I've ever seen it before. In fact, I've definitely never seen it before. Naturally now, all is totally calm. Still, it is interesting to see them all swimming in the same place. It was almost like it was a game. There's a lovely little flock of white-faced whistling ducks. I hope they hang around here. Anna Maria, can I do an impression of a whistling duck? It goes like this. I think that's about accurate. Anna Maria doesn't really go like that, in case you thought it really did go like that. It goes like this. It's like that, but not quite as whistly. In fact, even more whistly. It's sort of... No, I don't... do they, Garth? I don't think they migrate. Let me check that before I get accused of telling you a lie, for surely it would be a lie if it wasn't the truth. Duck. White-faced whistling duck. Status, common resident, but highly nomadic, gregarious, non-breeding season. So it will move around from waterhole to waterhole, which is probably why it seems like it might be a migrator, but it isn't a migrator. And it's gregarious in the non-breeding season. So we're just coming out of the breeding season. That is almost certainly the clutch of eggies that the two adults raised during the course of the summer. And you'll probably find that as winter progresses, they'll join up with other adult white-faced whistling ducks, and they'll spend the winter like that. And then in summer, they'll pair off again into their little couples, and they'll try and raise a clutch, like these two have very successfully done. Thank you for that, Garth. I didn't think they were migratory, but then I couldn't remember why I hadn't seen them here in winter, or why I had seen few of them in winter, and that's why. They are nomadic. So they'll be here sometimes, sometimes not. Gypsies of the sky. What you got there, Evan? Is it exciting? Is it a leopard? Oh, no. It's a piece of white branch. Fascinating.
Good looking branch.
Yes, a lovely branch. Yes. Good. Well, that was very exciting.
Like a blacksmith.
So we try and avoid blacksmith lapwings unless we absolutely have to show them, because, well, they're the only things that we see all the time, really. Okay, let's move on from here. I was hoping an elephant might come down to drink, as it is very hot today, 29 degrees Celsius, face is burning, but nothing has come down. And so we shall move on. Apparently I still need to do bokdrol spoeg, because whenever I mention it, I can't find any bokdrol. No, I'm not doing it with the elephant dung. Oh, and that's disgusting. Right, for the first time this afternoon we are going to go about 110 kilometers off to the west to Korone, the eco-training camp at Korone, where trainer Taylor McCurdy is sitting at the water.
Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Alex, and we are sitting at Korone Game Reserve, and at probably one of my favorite dams, Chippenberry Dam. This is the beautiful spot where we have the most gorgeous backdrop of the Drakensberg. Shall we have a look? We're going to try and swivel on the door. So there's an abundance of things here, but it's such a crisp, clear day, and I don't know if you really got to see them this morning when we were on safari with you briefly. But there are the beautiful Drakensberg Mountains. And this is quite a large dam. It's filled up a fair amount with all the rain that we've been having. But I don't know when the rain is going to disappear. It keeps doing this. It clears up nicely, and then we get another downpour. I'm not complaining. Promise that's not a complaint. And then, of course, the family of hippos that live at Chip Dam. We call it Chip Dam for short, just because. Now, fingers crossed, everybody. There is a hummerkop that's flying around here somewhere. I actually don't know where it is right now. I'm just looking at the monitor, so I'm sitting on the door. I can't see where it's gone, but it's quite amusing as it flies in and lands on the hippo. So we'll keep an eye out for it, but right now it's not playing its part. Shall we take this opportunity? Can we count the Egyptian gosling geese? Sorry, I wanted to actually try and get a count of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3. I think there's 6 Egyptian geese goslings. There's the 2 adults, one standing looking over the young goslings, and then of course the other adult is in the water. And those were hippopotamus making that noise. That's a very, very African sound, isn't it? So it feels like since the last time we were here, the Egyptian geese haven't actually moved. They seem to favor that spot, and the goslings are just having a bit of a rest again. They're very tired, running around all day and pedaling in the water. Must be quite an exhausting job, and the adults need a much deserved break, but not staying too far away from them. We did have a whole herd of buffalo. It was quite interesting. They were just down there in the corner. They were wallowing in some puddles, but sadly they have moved off. It wasn't a big breeding herd. I actually didn't count them, Alex. There must have been about 10 of them, and 2 little ones. So call it about 12 buffalo together. And then hippos, it varies, as you know, because hippos walk such huge distances. One day we might come to Chippenberry Dam and there will be no hippos because they will be in all the other watering holes. But the bull that belongs in here, wherever he may be, he's somewhere amongst these hippo. He's quite large, and normally he puts on a nice display for us in the afternoon. A footprint that I have not come across on the ground of the bird kind is an ostrich. So no, there are no ostrich here at Korone Game Reserve. However, at one of the other... When a hippopotamus speaks, one must always be quiet. So sorry, what I was saying is that at one of the other eco-training camps in Botswana, in an area called Mashatu, it's a really, really spectacular view from all the little koppies that they have there, these rocky outcrops, and they've got lots of ostrich running around. So I spent quite a bit of time there last year in those camps with students, and got to see ostrich. No chicks though. I was hoping to see some ostrich eggs and some ostrich chicks, but sadly we didn't see any. But yeah, they were running around. It was quite funny. I have to tell you a very interesting story. Obviously tracking is a big part of it. I know we've got off topic here about ostrich and we're looking at hippo. I'll find some way to link them. And anyways, we're looking at ostrich tracks, and we said to the students, was it left or right foot? And then they got it right. And then we said to one of them, one of the instructors said, back or front foot. And this obviously threw them all off, which was quite entertaining. We were just having a little joke. We like to have a lot of fun. I think we'll see what else we can find. The male cheetahs, by the way, we saw the 3 male cheetahs this afternoon. We're trying to find them again so that we can show you, but they were around in this area. So let's go back to the Sabi Sand to Trishala. I can't remember where she's at.
I am at Chitwa. Finally at the dam where we have 2 hippos. Very brief appearance by them here. There's not much happening at the dam. As such as Egyptian geese in the background, you might hear them. Davy is kind enough to even show you. There they are. and one lapwing with possibly an identity crisis. Those are Egyptian geese you're hanging around with. It's the usual. Ah, there are these cuties, the three-banded plovers. I think they're adorable, these things are. All the usual suspects here at Chitwa Dam. Gamaya, you'd like to know if these hippos ever come out of the water. You're 11 years old and from India. They certainly do. Although they like to live in the water, they don't eat in the water. They prefer to eat out where there's grass. So they're grazers, that's what we call animals that eat grass. And they like to eat grass very, very much. In fact, they have what we call hippo pathways, which are certain pathways that hippos like to use. And along those pathways, they can do a little bit of a territorial act. That's when they flick their tail about and they can deposit their poo onto the trees. So they certainly do come out of the water. Anyway, we can chat more about that in a bit, but I'll send you over to James with a bird in the road, from what I understand.
It is a bird on the road, and a bird that is very seldom get on camera. It is the double-banded sandgrouse. And normally I don't get it on camera, because as I drive up next to it, it's so well camouflaged that as I get next to it, it flies up from underneath me, and I cannot get it on camera. But there it is. I'm quite excited about it, as you might hear. Now this is Mrs. Double-banded sandgrouse. And in the first, I'd say 2 years of my work here at Djuma, I think I saw very, very few of these things. And they suddenly seem to have come in much greater numbers for some reason. I'm not sure why. At Ngala, we used to see them all the time, and I'm sure the guys there see them there all the time. I'm not sure why they weren't here. They've got some very famous cousins who occur in the Khalahadi, the Namakwa sandgrouse and Birchall sandgrouse, and they're very famous for coming down to the water's edge on the hot days, and the males soak the feathers in water, absorb the down feathers of the chest, and then fly sometimes many tens of kilometers back to their nests so that the chicks can drink the water off their feathers. And because they gather in such great numbers at such predictable places, because there's limited water, there are lanner falcons and jackals and various other predators that set themselves up around the water to catch the grouse. Aren't they pretty? There's something about the detail in these, I suppose what could be termed game birds, but obviously I don't think they should be shot, but game birds that is just very, very attractive. Slimming for health, they must be related to partridges in some way, but I can't tell you right now what that relationship is. Just look it up quickly. Grouse. Why can't I find grouse? Sand grouse, that's why. Right, double-banded sand grouse. They are in the same sort of area, interestingly, as the gallinules, or moorhens, or swamp hens. So I'm going to say they're probably less closely related to partridges than we think they are, and that probably more closely related to partridges would be the franklins and spurfowls that we get over here. This is a very fascinating thing that we're going to go across to Korone to see with Taylor. It would seem that there is a hitchhiker on a hippo.
what we got. A hippopotamus, a hummercorp. Something that you see every single day. Hummercorp walking on water, sitting on the back of a hippopotamus who does not look very impressed at all with the bird. And this is actually quite typical to see at this particular dam. Not something that I've seen very often. I've definitely seen hair on the backs of hippos, but it's been a first for a cherry dam. See the hummer fly and then the hippopotamus. Now a young hippo we're seeing here, that's a little fair. You can see very uncomfortable with the weight of the bird on its back. Doesn't quite know what to do with itself. I suppose it's like when the oxpeckers land on mammals, young mammals for the first time. It takes them a bit of getting used to. But this happens a fairly here. So I'm not sure.
Sorry guys, but that sounded like a very, very cute interaction there. Hammercorp on top of a baby hippo. Did I hear that correctly? Very, very cute. Now, you know, we often get asked about, because I'm on Chitwa airstrip, if it gets used. Let's go down here. And I said to you, I've never seen a plane land on it or take off from it. I did today, while we were waiting here. We saw a plane land on it. Don't worry, it's a plane we expect to land on it. No intruders coming into Chitwa. But that was the first time I saw that. It was very cool. Paul, you're 6 years old. You want to know how do the animals see through the bush? But there's another part that Kirst's going to help me with at the end. Ah, when they're walking. How do animals see through the bush when they're walking? It's quite easy. It's not too difficult. The bush is very thick at the moment. But usually, like, you know, when we're driving, Paul, we have to find an area where we can go through, like between these two trees. I won't drive into the trees. Similarly, animals that are walking will make sure that they're walking on an area that's sort of clear, unless they want to hide. Hello, you guys. We have some of these very animals right here. Some impala. Oh, listen. That's the sound of a male who's territorial. I can't see him. Looks like he's just showing off. Now, Paul, animals out here have really good eyesight. The antelopes do, and that's because they have to take care of what's going on around them, because often they may get hunted, and that's not very nice. You want to stay alive. So they have good eyesight that allows them to look around even when their heads are down like that and feeding. And even when they're walking through the bushes, they have very good eyesight. They can almost see over their shoulders. You know, we have to look over our shoulders to see. We have to turn our heads. They don't even need to do that. Their eyes are very, very good. Now, I think I see a great kudu bull just on the side. I'm going to roll forward. If I can roll forward, it's always nicer to you make less noise. You see him there, Davy? Just straight there. Oh, isn't he magnificent? You can see that he doesn't care too much about what's going on with the Impala rams that are very hyped up with testosterone at the moment. He's just very peacefully chomping along. These are my favorite antelope. A kudu bull. Just beautiful. And an impala ram. Just to let us know, hey, I'm more common, I'm more frequent, give me attention. Also striking though. Beautiful. I think I'm going to move a little bit more forward and let's see if we can spot that ram that is causing the trouble. That kudu was beautiful, wasn't it? It looks like we might get some impala running across. Oh. Okay, we're going to have to listen to what's happening here. I think there's a few things happening. I just want to stop at a spot where we can see sufficiently. That might actually have been the gap. Sorry, Darby, you're going to have to do that. Sorry, my vehicle's a little jerky today. And there's a few males around. The territories that the males hold when they're rutting are not very large, so it's not uncommon to see a couple males. And can you see the whole lot of females in the middle there? Oh, don't they look lovely with their heads popping out of the bush like that? So all these males are taking turns to advertise their space. That's why you can hear them snorting and grunting. Ah, how gorgeous is that? Very cool. And there he struts his stuff. All right, Taylor is back, and that baby Hippo is still around. So while this impala runs off, I'll send you over to Taylor.
Well, we can only hope, and we just thought we'd try it again because what a unique scene with the hippo and the Hammerkorp. I don't know if you got my story about me being in Sri Lanka. Perhaps I'll be told now if I'm repeating myself, but I think we may have lost you just before. But essentially I was saying to you that I've seen the Indian pond heron in Sri Lanka sitting on the backs of the submerged water buffalo and actually fishing from the backs of the hippos, which I thought was quite fascinating and also quite intelligent because they're able to reach an area that they normally wouldn't be able to fish in. Typically, these birds have to walk on the edges of the water to try and catch frogs or fish or maybe even a little crustacean, depending on what's on the menu. So I haven't seen the Hammerkorp actually do it, but I can't imagine why it would be sitting on the hippo, unless it's just wanting to have a bit of fun. Perhaps animals enjoy entertainment too. But it is flying from one end of Chippenberry Dam to the other. Is that better? Sorry, everyone. I apologize. I'm trying to sit in the stillest position that I possibly can so we don't have any break up. But these are the challenges, of course, of bringing you live safaris from the middle of Africa, which I think is quite special anyways. So apologies again for that. We're working on those things. And you might have heard the go birds just complaining in the distance. They are going to come down for their afternoon drink. Not that we can really see any right now. It's a shame. They're directly behind Alex, and I don't think that he can contort himself in that manner. Now, Hans, unfortunately, I've had some unsavory encounters with hippos on foot that have been very unpleasant, so closer than I'd like. However, when I was working in Zambia, I got to pretty much be a few meters from hippos every single day on the Zambezi River from a boat, which was quite a spectacular thing. I highly recommend doing a boat safari if you ever have the chance. The hippos, however, can still be quite daunting in the boat, especially when they're unhappy with you. And they think that you've gotten a bit too close and they charge towards you, and it is a small tsunami that heads in your direction. There's that famous video that went around a few years ago of how daunting hippos can really be. It's chasing after a speedboat, essentially. So hippos and buffalo are normally the two animals that guides say they don't really want to bump into, as they can be unpredictable. I think I worry the most, funny enough. I've got to walk quite a distance to my tent at night, and this is why it's so important to walk with some kind of torch or spotlight, whatever you want to call it, depending where in the world you may be from. There we go. The hammerkorp is back, just to the left of the one that you're on. It was amazing that it landed there and couldn't even see the hippo, so it just landed on the water. I think that also goes to show how good the hammerkorp's eyesight is, or it's got a good memory, I'm not sure. So it's important to walk with a torch and a flashlight, especially with the eco-training camps. A lot of them are based on beautiful river systems, and if there are lots of river systems, well, then you're probably going to see hippo. That's a lovely reflection, again, just on the back of the hippopotamus. Holding its breath, you can see the bubbles now just coming up to the surface. And I'm sure in a moment that hippo will emerge. There we go. Oh, hello. You were standing up quite high on its head. I can't imagine that must be very comfortable for the hippo. Oh, Austin. Oh my gosh, I just ate an insect. Look, we're back to old times. That was a stink bug. Sorry, everyone. That was very unpleasant. So Austin, if a crocodile oh, hello. Sorry, this normally happens a lot. That looks like a bull at the back, getting quite frisky with this female. She didn't seem to want to have anything to do with that. So just going back to Austin's question as I try and get the taste of stink bug out of my mouth. Hippos and crocodiles sort of have this unwritten rule of you leave me alone and I'll leave you alone. You can see it quite often in the Mara River, and then also in the Zambezi River, and I'm sure in the Delta, as well in Botswana, where there are a number of hippopotamus and crocodiles interacting with one another on a regular basis. I haven't seen any big monster crocs that would really be a threat to a young hippo. The crocodiles here, the biggest one I've seen is maybe about 3.5 meters or so. Oh, it's going to open its mouth, and we're just out of view. Sorry, everyone. We've got some tall reeds in the way there. Still a nice scene, though. And occasionally a crocodile will attempt to take a young hippo calf, or they get too close to a pod of hippos, and then they're very unhappy. Again, if you just check the internet out, crocodile versus hippo, you'll find some very interesting photographs that might visually answer your question a lot better. To be honest, I wouldn't mess with a hippo, and I definitely wouldn't mess with a crocodile. But if a croc gets into that pod, it's not going to be a good situation for the crocodile. So I've seen quite a bit of interaction in the Mara. Again, the crocodiles always end up being chased off by the hippos, and they move off quite quickly. It does look like this hammerkorp wants to fish. Now, with the hippos constantly defecating all the time, it's almost like baiting the fish. This hammerkorp is actually very intelligent. Perhaps we underestimate the intelligence of birds. Chumming the waters, shall we say? Obviously, that's not right. Well, it might be what's going on. A lot of species of fish that actually feed on hippo feces. And where there are lots of fish, you also might find lots of crocodiles. So it's inevitable that you're going to find crocodile and hippo interaction. No, Paul, there's a heron that I've seen doing this. Again, green-backed herons and a couple of the smaller heron species are known to lure in their prey. So you've actually asked about, are there any species that will bait? So as soon as we're on the topic of birds right now, we shall talk about them. And there was a grey heron lurking about, but it's gone now. But that's one of the bigger heron species. But they might take a piece of something and float it on top of the water, and a curious fish will go, I wonder what that is on the surface, and get too close, and those herons are sitting there perched just above the water's edge, or maybe just, with their feet in the water, and waiting for the fish or frog or whatever might be interested in what the thing that's floating on the surface of the water, and then they will strike when they just get close enough. So I've seen greenback herons kind of doing that. But I'm sure there's an array of different species of animals that sort of bait. Some creatures even. Do you know what else I've seen that's quite cool? Is the little egret. So little egrets, it's a white bird. You've probably seen the cattle egrets moving around with elephants or buffalo or even just cows in a paddock. Those white birds. But the cattle egrets have got black legs and then yellow feet. I wish I could show you one. We might look at a picture at a later stage. We're not going to worry now. And on the banks of the Bushman's River in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, on a reserve that I once worked at, there was a cattle egret, and the water was quite clear, and the mud had settled quite a bit that day. And this cattle egret, you could see it wiggling its toes in the mud. So every now and then you get these sort of flashes of yellow, especially when you looked with your binoculars. And you could see all the mullet, you could see, which is a type of fish species, coming closer and closer. So I suppose I don't know if that's its intention, and it was just an observation that I made, and it was one time that it happened, but the fish were definitely intrigued by the bright yellow coming through the sort of the murky, muddy waters as the little egret shuffled its feet around. So I thought that was quite fascinating as well. We've gotten to that point of the day where the hippos start to get a bit rowdy. They're all moving around now. I'm going to try and shift slightly for you, Alex, because I think you need to shoot in front of me now. So I'm just going to drop down. Apologies for any breakup that you may hear on my audio. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. But look at those hippos just moving to the shallow water now, all the way to the left. There we go. So you can see it's not very deep, this dam. I'm sure there'll be some parts of the water where I might have to stand on my tippy toes because we have had that much rain. But for the most part of it, the hippos are quite comfortable. And slowly but surely, they will make their way out, and they don't have to walk too far because there is so much green grass on Korone Game Reserve. Another animal that particularly enjoys the water is elephants, and James has found a herd.
This is a doberfant, or elefweiler. Get it? Poor elephant has lost its tail. Most likely to some sort of infection. Looks like a fairly neat surgical job, actually, but I assure you it wasn't. I did hear one story from a guide once that said baby elephants often have their tails pulled off by older elephants in the herd, and it's something that happens frequently and they have to watch out for it. Garbage as far as I'm aware. I think let's go that way. I'll just turn onto the road here. I mean, unless anybody can tell me that they've read something that of a reliable nature that says that that's what happens. Now, Beatrice, I'm so glad you asked me this question today, because I have been reading about this, because 2 days ago I was asked pretty much, although not in these words, where did elephants evolve? And the answer I gave was incorrect. They did not evolve in Asia. Mammoths, Asian elephants, and African elephants all evolved in Africa. The mammoths and the Asian elephants moved out of Africa, and the African elephants stayed here, more or less. There's still a lot of debate as to whether these African elephants are more closely related to mammoths or to Asian elephants, and that debate comes from genetic studies. Morphologically, oh yes, you big strong fellow. Okay, we're going to have to come back to this conversation. Apparently Rowan's got a leopard that's about to disappear.
So we just managed to find the Shitsalala young female, so the sister of the young male that we saw this morning, and I was off on foot for a little while, just in that dip in the riverbed next to her now, and we didn't have signal, and then she just decided to come up to the bank here. And what happened, I think she might have heard a bird or something crawling around, and she just pounced in that direction. I quickly had to come over to this side and see if we can find her again, and then voila, there she is, the little female. It looks like she's still quite interested in the bird. You can see, just like her brother, the tail keeps flapping up and down, up and down, up and down. So we know that both of them are in the area. When I was walking around here, you could definitely see tracks of both. So I'm hoping she doesn't go back in there. But you can see she's listening around for anything that she heard earlier. And I agree with everyone. Yay, leopard indeed. Although there goes our leopard. Well, short-lived, but at least we know exactly where she is. So let me try drive in there, see if we can still manage to get a glimpse of her in the riverbed. We haven't seen the brother yet. Right, so for now, see if we can find a glimpse of her or even find the brother. I'm going to send you back to James with these elephants.
Is she coming to us? Are we live? Okay, my earpiece is not working. Right, anyway, here we have our elephants. So, back into the story of where they evolved and where they're from. The reason that they are different, and one of the characteristics of mammoths and Asian elephants, whose ancestors all had bigger ears and were actually morphologically much more similar to these elephants than are the current Asian elephants, is climate. So climate was very different. They don't need ears so big, and that's simply because in Asia the elephants tend to live in much more shaded areas. They don't live out in the hot sun like this. Mammoths, same story, they lived in very cold areas, and so they didn't need to have great big ears like this. This is a wonderful fellow giving us a great display. And then they also got smaller, generally, elephants as they went into Asia, because the size advantage here is that heat-wise they managed to survive much better in the heat. Thank you, Owen. It's very useful to come back to me right now. So I'll try and fix my earpiece. Anyway, let's go back a little bit. He's just over here. So does that answer your question there? Oh, don't have a little heart attack. Come on, fellow. I'll just move so that he can relax a little. He does look slightly ridiculous with that tail. Shame. I'm sure his friends tease him mercilessly. Yes, Miss Anamandris is very cute indeed. He's also letting rip with quite astonishing vigour. All right, we've just had reports that Tlalamba was apparently, she's a leopardess we see quite frequently, was around the Buffelshoek waterhole where we were earlier, but sort of late this morning. We didn't see her, but we'll head gently back up in that direction. Because the elephants have now crossed, unfortunately, south out of Djuma onto a reserve called Little Gowrie. Well, it was nice to see them. Nice to catch up with them, and very nice little discussion we had there. So, you'll find that a lot of the old studies, before the advent of genetic studies, used to base the relationship between animals and our animal relatives on morphology, so on what they looked like. And it wasn't just a case of they looked like on the whole, it was a case of very detailed study of joints and how they fit together, and the movement of joints, and it's a seriously complicated discipline. And with the advent of genetic studies where the genes of animals or the genomes of animals have been mapped, and they're able now to sort of compare how closely related things are using the genome, a lot of those relationships have changed. And interestingly, the elephant, mammoth, or African elephant, Asian elephant, and mammoth discussion has yet to be resolved, despite the genetic studies. But it looks more likely that what happened was Loxodonta, which is African elephants, and then mammoths and elephas, which is Asian elephants, had a common ancestor, and then a separate branch became mammoths and Asian elephants, and that another branch became Loxodonta, or the African elephants. Okay, fascinating. Very fascinating indeed. Let's go back to Trish now. I'm not sure how long she's going to be on the very smooth and fine roads of Chitwa, but she'll tell you that now.
That is absolutely right. We were just saying how lovely and smooth these roads are. They're really, really nice to drive on, especially on the Mahindra. Now, I am looking at this glorious termite mound, hoping that there was a leopard or two atop it. Unfortunately not. I'm on one of the roads that I don't think I've driven on Chitwa before. There's lots of nice little roads out here, so I'm trying to make the most of it, hoping that I'll pick up on some tracks or something like that, but haven't yet, unfortunately. But that's okay. I'm going to slowly head back Djuma way after I've navigated these nice smooth roads. Elephants have had their way with the roads, though, as you can see. Hello, Olivia. You're from the USA. You'd like to know, are there a lot of ants in Africa, and why are there ants? There are a lot of ants in Africa. In fact, there are a lot of ants all over the world. Just trying to get under that spider's web. There we go. Ants are really important because ants actually aerate the soil. So that means that they tunnel into the ground, and then they pick up other bits of soil from underneath and they bring it on top. That means that they make the soil really, really good to plant with and very nutritious because they turn it over. I don't know if you've ever known in your garden, maybe your mum or your dad picks up soil before they plant. They turn the soil. Ants do that naturally, so they're really good at that. Also, ants are a huge food source for lots and lots of animals. Also, ants are the enemy of termites. You often see an ant carrying away termite babies. They're very sad, or just fully grown termites. So ants are very, very important. They also clean up after lots of animals. They clean up after us, certainly. If ever you've dropped crumbs, you know that ants come and clean them up, along with other animals. And when there's an animal that's died, then you get hyenas, or you get the animal that hunted that animal that eats it, then you get hyenas coming to eat. Oh! Steenbok races off into the distance. Mahindra doesn't get into gear quick enough, and it's gone. You might have seen just the jumping of it. So like I was saying, Olivia, there's lots of animals that clean up after the others, and you have the hyenas that come, and the vultures that come, then you get the flies and all of that, and you also get ants that will clean up after them. So it's very, very important, and ants certainly are. Anyway, I'm going to slowly make my way off Chitwa and back onto Djuma, and I'm going to send you over to Taylor McCurdy, see what she's getting up to at that waterfall.
Sorry everybody, we just swung the camera around at a rapid rate because there's an Egyptian goose war happening right now. That might not sound exciting to some of you, but our day has been so action-packed and I'm so chuffed that we've been able to go live all the time. So I think there might be a nest up there. There also seems to be a very unimpressed fork-tailed drongo that you can also see fluttering about, or perhaps it's enjoying. Oh, here comes another Egyptian goose. They're not happy with one another. So one of these Egyptian geese belongs to was a parent of the gosling. There's a third Egyptian goose coming into play now. See, the one on the nest trying to make itself look all big and threatening by opening its wings and squawking and shouting. Coming in again. Okay. You are booted off. I think it's the nest. I've never noticed them up there before, but it's very flat. Yeah, it's kind of what an Egyptian goose nest looks like. They often like to nest in the middle of the dams. If Trishala goes to Chitwa, she will show you exactly, or James goes there, they'll show you exactly. Look at that. Oh, we're going to get knocked straight out of the sky. So obviously conflicting, everybody's fighting for the rights of Chippenberry Dam. The most territorial birds that you come across. So they're not really tolerate anybody else. Sometimes you get lucky and you see a whole gander of geese milling around at one area, but I think that this pair is overly protective because they have got young goslings at the moment. You can see one adult is staying with the goslings, the other one has returned now. They'll do the equivalent of a goose high five to say that we won and this is our space, while the others circle above. This is very intense. You can still hear them making all the noise. This pair, awesome camera work. This pair hasn't been here. We try to come to Chip Dam at least once a day to just suss out and see what's happening. With so much water around, it was obvious that it's going to draw animals around here. But some of you probably wouldn't have even thought that Egyptian geese could be quite so fascinating. Those two must be a pair because they don't seem to open their wings very much. Sorry about the audio issues. Not sure what's happening. I'm sitting very still, I promise. I'm not shuffling around now, I shuffle. I'm just trying to reposition things into other places. So you can easily tell that these Egyptian geese are adults because they're I'm not touching anything. Sorry.
Face out of the way.
Okay, right, off you go back to the Sabi Sands and see what James is up to.
I'm approaching a little waterhole. And I'm approaching a little waterhole because I did find a single track of a leopardess, most likely Tundi. Didn't look particularly fresh, probably from yesterday. Been a hot day, heading towards this little waterhole. Maybe, just maybe. I've always wanted to see her lying next to this particular waterhole, or in the tambuti trees that are next to the particular waterhole. Maybe she will grant me this pleasure today. We are now on the banks of a tributary of the great Mulawamati, the great roaring torrent that rages through Djuma. Right, here we go. Owen, are you ready? Oh, she's definitely there because look, her best friend is there. Almost certainly, she must be there. Her best friend, Mrs. Kudu, is standing right next to the waterhole. She doesn't look very sympathetic, does she? Yes. She says, I've been waiting for you here all day. You found me eventually. It's very pretty. Melinda, no, Kudu and Impala are not found only in South Africa at all. This is known as the Greater Kudu. And yes, there is a Lesser Kudu. And the Greater Kudu extends, I'm just going to check the distribution map for you. Yeah, it extends all the way through southern Africa. Excuse me. Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, parts of Zambia, Mozambique, Malawi, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, bits of, what country is that? Oh, bits of the DRC. So they occur, I'll show you the distribution map of the Greater Kudu. There it is. That is Africa, and that is the distribution of the Greater Kudu. And then the Impala, stand by one. I shall type it in live. You shall see that I can write, sort of. There's the Impala, which extends, as you can see, northern and eastern South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, but notice how it's excluded from all the desert regions, so from the Namib, and except for the black-faced impala up top there, but from the Namib and the Kalahari it is excluded, then up into Zambia, and then Tanzania, Kenya, and bits of the eastern DRC. Nice question. Thank you very much. Let us proceed. Let us proceed. Austin, as I always like to say for these questions, just like the big bad wolf had big ears, all the better to hear Little Red Riding Hood with, so does the kudu have big ears in order to hear its predators coming to eat it. So it's just so that it hears well, and it has an excellent hearing because it lives in very thick bush. It was in that patch of sort of shade over there I was expecting to find Thandi, nursing her two bebes. But she has thwarted me once again. Many of you asking what app I used for this. That app's name always escapes me. It used to be the Smithers Book of African Mammals, but it's now called something else. Hang on a second, I'll try and find out for you. The Cambridge Mammal Guide in App Support. No, it's not that one. No. The Mammals of the Southern African Subregion. Guide tips. The Mammals of the Southern African Subregion. And what's nice about it is that it takes all of the... oh, look. There's a big fella. It takes all of the research that's been done, or most of it, and it combines it into this big book. And so unlike a lot of the other books, or books that, guides will generally pull out of their bags and sightings, they are based on actual scientific papers and scientific reviewed work, and not on hearsay and anecdote. There are two other great books you can get. One is the Estes Guide to African Mammals, which is not based a huge amount on scientific papers, but it's based on extensive personal research by Richard Estes. So some of it you will find, you'll look at and you'll think, I've definitely not seen that. But it's, he's obviously seen it. He's a massive expert. And then the Kingdon's guides are just fantastic. Jonathan Kingdon's guides to African mammals are also great. But for Southern African mammals, that's probably the best one. The book is massive. And all of it is in that app. It's just great. I wouldn't describe it as being written in the most lively language, but is readable in short bursts, if, like me, your brain switches off and puts you to sleep, if you're not reading something that is totally engaging. Molly, we are supposedly capable of getting eland here. I've never seen one here. There's just too much water, I think. So you'll find them up in the northern parts of the Kruger, for sure, and drier parts of South Africa. And interestingly, you'll find them all over East Africa, where it's much wetter than it is in a lot of parts here. But I think they need to be, much like roan and sable, they need to be able to get away from water so that they can have their babies without predators congregating around water. And of course, certainly in the Sabi Sands, you can't get more than, I think it's 2 kilometers ever in a straight line from water. Although it don't sometimes seem like that. Now I have a decision to make. Do I go to the Hyena den, or do I go and look for Tlalamba at Buffelshoek Dam? I'm going to leave that decision up to you. You have got precisely 20 seconds to make it. We're going to do a poll quickly, Kirsten. Do a poll on Twitter, hashtag WildEarth, do a poll on Twitter. The Hyena den offers almost a guaranteed sighting. The Tlalamba is a very spec leopard. So I'm going to leave it up to you as we approach.
Sorry guys, well I hope the poll is going well. James really needs to find a leopard, I think. He deserves one. I also feel like I'd like to see a leopard. Particularly, I'd like to see Hukumuri. There was a string of, or a particular time when I was seeing him so often. And now I haven't seen him at all since I've been back. I think he needs to make an appearance. So I have now, as you can see, left Chitwa, and I am on our southern boundary. I haven't picked up on any tracks. None at all. It's always important to look at junctions, as we know, when we're tracking, because that's when animals make decisions. And I think that the light is just perfect for a leopard. Ali, you'd like to know if I've ever seen a fennec fox. I have not seen a fennec fox, but at Taronga Zoo in Sydney, they have some fennec foxes. I think so. Excuse me, let me reply to the Henry. Standing by. My position is heading west on the southern boundary, approaching junction with Shabamu.
Copy, thank you. I'm probably going to go back up to Buffelshoek Dam, see if I can find Tlalamba. She was apparently around junction to the Kaplan this morning. If you want to go to the Hyena den, please go ahead.
Okay, copy. Thank you. Good luck. Anyway, as I was saying, well, now you heard the update. But as I was saying, in Australia we have a couple of programs on TV that are about zoos and things like that. One is called The Zoo. And then Taronga's also got their own. And I saw lovely fennec foxes and their little pups that had to be hand-reared by some of the keepers. I can't remember if it was Australia Zoo or Taronga. But that's as close as I've come to seeing a fennec fox, and that was through the TV. but they were just too adorable. Too adorable. I would love to see one. There's that iconic picture of them with their heads all on top of each other, which is very cute. I also think that hyena cubs are particularly cute, so I'm gonna give James a little bit more time, and I'll just go out west a little bit, and then I'll swing around and go to the den. I really hope that he'll be successful with finding a salama. The hyena den hopefully will be active, not just with ribbons cubs, but also with the older cubs, which I enjoy very much. And I'm actually glad that they're around the den, because I hope that will encourage ribbons little ones to also notice us and interact with us and start to become those mischievous little things that they are. Anyway, while we head round, you heard where James is and where he's going, and he's already at the Buffalo Dam, so let's go over and see what he has to say.
So your pole has told me to go and look for Tulamba, and so that's what I'm going to do. But on my way, we're going to do the psychologically interesting, but almost certainly physically pointless thing of going to visit in at the old den site, simply because, well, I can't go past here without putting my head in. This is Tundi's den site, or it used to be, and almost certainly isn't still. But I'm in a much quieter vehicle than I was this morning. It's certainly not quiet, but it is quieter. Tutti, you don't want to see a leopard, you want to see a porcupine. Well, Tutti, I'll tell you what, I'll look for a porcupine while I'm looking for a leopard. How does that sound? Just going to have a brief look into the crevice where they used to hang. I mean, I'm 99% sure these things are not here. But I can't bring myself to drive past here without having a look. Just looking with my binoculars. You know, the number of times I've come in here, if they were still, or if they'd been brought back here, you'd expect Tundi to have been here at least once. But I see naught currently, but bush, stick, crevice, and grass. Thank you, Sassy Cassie. You say that I am the king of Djuma. Not sure how some people would feel about that. I shall take it to heart and feel very flattered. Thank you, Sassy Cassie. I would suggest you might cause a Twitter storm now. People will tell you that an animal must be king of Djuma, or, you know, there wasn't a sufficient voting process before you suddenly decided to call me the king of Djuma. Tristan's the king of Djuma. Steve's the king of Djuma. But I will take it. Thank you, Sassy Cassie. So no movement there. You know, if they are in there, which I don't think they are, but if they are, this is actually very beneficial, because this car comes in, sits about for a while, they don't know if we can see them or not, and then disappears. And so they will eventually just get totally used to having it coming in and out and being around them. But I don't think that they're there. Right, apparently we are now going to go across to Rowan, the king of andBeyond and Ngala. He has got a leopard.
I'll take it. So we found the brother now. The sister gave us a slip, but this is good. If he goes up there, she was up there to the left. So hopefully the two of them will join up. And we were actually thinking that, you know, I think we actually woke her in the river. I think she was having a snooze. And so, yeah, hopefully she comes and looks for him, or he'll go look for her. And we can watch two, well, not really babies, but small leopards play. But you can see he's not hungry at all. I mean, you can see in the width of his body. Oh, that's a beautiful shot, isn't it? The green light of the tree line behind him. Wow. Wow. That's cool. Yeah, good. He is turning left. So that's where we went in, and that's where we last saw the sister. About 100 meters or so to the left. But luckily we know both of them are there. I'm just waiting. Oh, there he goes. Go, let's follow. What an afternoon. Once again. And he is way more relaxed or habituated than his sister is. His sister actually gave us a little bit of a snarl when we woke her up. So I'm just going to stop like that for now. It's actually quite nice. Right on eye level with him. You can hear a squirrel to the right alarm calling, and it's most probably at this leopard. Going cheep, 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 cheep. Just keep going and going and going. How exciting. Imagine he does link up with his sister. And I was saying this morning that I've not seen the Chitwa leap since I've been back. I know Sean saw them once, all three of them together. The mom, him and his sister. And it's absolutely amazing how they grew. Misa says I'm on a roll. Misa, I agree. I also think I'm on a roll. I've had a really good day. It's phenomenal. He's listening to everything now. I love that tail. That tail just swinging from side to side. So you'll notice that it's curled up like that. And every time he walks past one of these ground birds, like a francolin or a spurfowl, they actually lift their tail quite high up. These cubs do not have names yet. The reason why we do it is because he'll most probably leave. He's now sitting down right next to us, stretching his claws. Actually, that's quite nice. Also, you know, he'll most probably leave. He'll be kicked out by his dad, the Tamboti Tom. About another year or so. So I don't think he'll spend the rest of his life on Ngala. His sister, however, will... Oh, look at those claws. You can actually hear it. Ooh. Yeah, you don't want that scratching at your arm. I love the look. I love the look he gives us after doing that. It's like, oh, I'll take you. So his sister will get a part of her mom's territory, and she'll probably receive a name then. But I don't think we will actually have the privilege of ever naming this young male. He'll get a name whether he decides to set up territory someday. Keep looking. As you can see on the tracker seat, I've decided to camouflage our vehicle a little bit. And that's why the guari branch is stuck there. It's vital that you camouflage a vehicle when you're looking for leopard. Not a care in the world. He already walks like he owns the place. I was going a lot further than I thought he would to turn left. Kirst says she almost thought our car was invisible. Thank you, Kirst. It's my own handiwork. Marcel also liked it. So I keep looking to the left to see if the sister pops out. She gave us a slip completely. So we drove in there, actually walked just a tiny bit to see where her tracks are going, and it came this way. But no sign of her. Of course, had to walk very carefully and very softly. Okay. I'm going to go lie down there for a bit. A nice hole. I'm sure he'll know where his sister is. Yeah, so then we drove back into the river. And of course we lose signal there, but couldn't see her at all. That's the thing about a leopard. I mean, them being so secretive, so elusive. It's literally like that to lose us. Madeline, the tail flicks. I don't know if you have a cat or you've ever seen a domestic cat, but often they just show their moods with their tail. So that was it better with the sun in it? Well, I'm going to stop here for now. So often that white, oh, must be quite a nice scent on that branch. You can see his face is just happy. The tail flick just shows their moods. And so, like I was saying earlier, if you had to go past one of those ground birds like a francolin or spurfowl, he'll actually raise the tail very high just to show I'm not a threat, I'm not here trying to hunt you, you know, I'm not stalking you, I'm not trying to hide. It's that white tip on the tail. I think this might be magnificent. He's going onto a little termite mound. So I'm just going to stop here. Fairly certain he knows where his sister is. I'm expecting her to start stalking from the left, but so far I haven't seen it. How beautiful is that? Right on top of the termite mound, of course, a good vantage point. You can see everything from there, you can hear everything from there. Nothing can really sneak up to him. See, he's turning his head to every sound. Absolutely beautiful. I always find it so just astounding how clean a leopard can look. I mean, this animal spends 24/7. Carrie, he does have very light colored eyes. It's actually quite nice. His mother has the same. His sister also has beautiful eyes. Don't know if you were watching earlier. Very light as well. Like I was saying, it's astonishing how clean they keep. You know, if you look at the white belly, the white on the tail, here's an animal that spends its entire life 24/7 outside in the sand, lying down on the ground like it is now, and it still just manages to be so white and clean. I keep looking where he's looking, while Marcel's focused on him, but I still don't see the sister. Maybe she's shy to come out now that we are here again. Long whiskers there. Kim is asking what is his spot pattern. Oh, Kim, I don't really know what you mean by that. Of course, I know what spots or what he looks like, what the spots are above his eyes. If you're talking about the spot pattern on the side of his nose, it's a 2-2 variety. So 2 right above the whiskers on the left side, and then 2 right above the whiskers on the right side. There he goes, back into the river. Yeah, Kim, spot pattern could mean a lot of things. So I'm sorry I could not be more helpful in that regard. So where he's going now is back into the little riverbed that leads to the Timbavati River. Just like his sister is trying to lose us. I mean, we haven't been in there yet, so we could actually try loop around and see whether we have signal in there or not. Now I just want to make sure he doesn't come back out. Marcel, what do you think? Loop around? Marcel thinks we should loop around. Okay, for now we're going to send you back to Trishala just for a quick update.
Update. It's Trishala with an update. The update is I'm on the Hyena Den Road, which is different to Hyena Road. Taking it quite slowly, enjoying the very soft, warm setting sun. Hopefully Ribbon will be enjoying that too. And her cubs. I keep trying to tell her that they need to get outside a little bit more, need to enjoy the sunlight. but my hyena is not very fluent. But I think she's getting it. The more we spend time with her and the more we visit her, the more we see the cubs getting a bit braver. This is the most interesting time to watch them. Watch them interact with other clan members, with each other. So many things. And what I love is that, 6 months from now, when we definitely know who's dominant and who's submissive, we can think back to the time when, excuse me. Oh, that was a very strong web. We can think back to the time when we thought this or thought that. Hi, Benton. You'd like to know if hyenas are known. Sorry, this thing is in my eyelashes. It's in Darby's mouth. You'd like to know if hyenas stash food. They certainly do. Sometimes in water as well. That's quite interesting. You watch a hyena and it goes over to, the last time I saw it was actually a treehouse dam just down here. You see them, they walk around, they give a bit of a side glance, make sure no one's watching, of course, except us. We're privy to this type of thing. And then they look like they're just going for a swim, dive down, and yes, they can dive down. I've seen it with my own eyes. Come up with a leg that they've stashed in there. I've seen it many times. I think it's quite cool, very cool. So yes, they are known to stash things. They're also known to be quite selfish when they do find a kill. They'll eat as much as they can before they let clanmates know that they are there. Hello, gorgeous girl. I am reminded of a sighting with Salamba and Fika. Salamba caught the Ngala. Hello, gorgeous. And then Fika came and gave us an anatomy lesson as he proceeded to take apart the Ngala. And he ate as much as he could before another hyena came along and got a sniff, and he was like, oh, no, I just found it. At least that's the impression I got. Ribbon here has priority when it comes to food. Benefit of being a matriarch, so she generally doesn't have to put up with having to stash food or anything like that. She can just drag it and eat it and just tell the others, come at me, try and take my food. Well, she is sleeping beautifully. Hi, Paige, you're 7 years old, and you'd like to know if hyenas have a favorite food, or are they not picky? They are certainly not picky at all. At all. You want to hear something a little bit disgusting? I've even seen hyenas eat the poop of other animals. They do that. They don't mind at all. They like a bit of bone, a bit of skin, and just some ordinary good old flesh. That's great any day. Oh, I think somebody's tired. I really enjoy when they sigh like that. It just gives them some character. She looks really nice, well fed. It's important for her because she's got to produce that really protein-rich milk for her little ones, who shall arrive soon, I hope, from their nap in the den. Of course, I will wait here until that happens. Barry, you'd like to know if the clan will call Ribbon if they find a carcass? No. Very, very unlikely. What can happen is that Ribbon will hear that there's some commotion.
Firing coming.
Let me turn that down. She will hear that there's some commotion and get there, and if she does get there, she'll have priority, but they won't generally call for her. But hyena social dynamics relies a lot on relationships and whose corner you're in. So those individuals that want to be closer to the top, want to be higher ranking, will try to be in favor with Ribbon. And that may include finding a kill and then calling her to it so that they get into the good books with Ribbon. But you'll find that lower ranking members, such as especially the males actually, will prefer to eat as much as they can before the females come along, especially before Ribbon comes along, and they certainly won't call for her unless they require some sort of assistance. Remember, hyenas hunt as well. In fact, more than half of the time. So if they need some assistance to take down prey, then they will call. But most of the time, it's every hyena for themselves, unless they're trying to build a relationship, build favor, or need some help. And some bothersome flies, as usual. But she's looking very nice and clean. Her coat is looking lovely. Very, very sweet. All right. I am going to wait for the cubs to come out. As Kirsty says, she has faith in me, so let me send you over to James for an update.
We are in the region of Buffelshoek Dam, where we had reports, perhaps, of the arrival of Kalamba from earlier this morning. Sun going down. Distressed birds there calling. But as yet no sign. But we shall continue to listen for a few minutes while the sun goes down. For the sound of the grey go-away bird. So what we're going to do is just go forward to the edge of this little corner here, turn around, come back, and we're just going to pretty much circle the dam 3 or 4 times until the end of the drive. Liam, I haven't had a day off since lockdown because I've been contracted to work since lockdown, and I am massively privileged to be working during lockdown, and I have not the slightest complaint about not having had a day off since lockdown. I love being on drive. I have thoroughly enjoyed especially meeting all of the new people, and I don't know, it's just that's how it's worked out. I feel it would be massively churlish of me to be going, I need a day off during this lockdown period when thousands, millions of people are longing to get back to work. And so, frankly, I've been energized by being on safari every day. I hope that you're not all getting sick and tired of me. I'm sure 1 or 2 of you are. Sorry about that. But that's why. My wife says to me, she's in my ear this afternoon, that she's had enough of looking at me just for the moment, and so we're going to go back to Rowan, who's got a leopard.
That's hilarious. So we've literally been racing up and down, up and down, up and down, into the riverbed, back out and in again. Yeah, and now it looks like he's finally settling. It's quite a nice shot as well, behind the little Termite mount. Beautiful face, beautiful eyes. No sign of the sister yet. We thought that maybe when he jumped up from the riverbed itself onto the bank, we thought maybe he saw the sister, and it took quite a while for us to find him, but we did. There's also very faint lion audio coming from west of us, quite far west, so some male lions roaring in the distance. It's turning out to be just a spectacular day. Well, I think we will probably just end up sitting here until it gets dark and wait for the sister to show herself. Beautiful pink nose. He's also, so now that he's looking at us, if you want a bit more explanation on the spot pattern, see above his left eye there's a very long spot going up just above his left eye if he turns his face again. So his father has exactly the same, the Tambochi Tom. They're quite nice to see. So Anushka has asked how many sets of whiskers a leopard has. Anushka, you are more than welcome to count, and then you can let me know. I have no idea. Such a gorgeous animal. Also with young leopards, it's the first spot just above the eye. And the big spots, they tend to be a bit wider. And then as they grow older, it thins a little bit. Sorry, Kirst, what did you say? Did you hear myself? No. So Kirst was saying something and both of us missed it. She said there's more than something. More than one pair, I hope. Right, yeah. So Kirst is also making a bad joke saying it has more than one whisker on each side. Thanks, Kirst. I'm glad I can count over one. I love the joke. So Kirst is sitting in final control, and it's usually her, Natalie, or Lou talking to us in our ears, and it's like a stream of bad jokes coming in, and it usually creates quite a few fits of laughter between Marcel and I. Good fun. Still no sign of the sister. Also no sign of the mom. So it's most likely the mother would have left them here and gone hunting for the day. Actually, I think they might have been here for a little bit longer than a day. Really, judging by the amount of trucks that's gone up and down this riverbed. And strange enough, this is called Chitsalala drainage line, or Chitsalala riverbed. So of course, she was named after this area. It's just fitting that we find them here. Just picking up on every single sound. Those ears are forever checking every direction. A few flies irritating him. Then he gives us the look. Anushka, if you had to guess, how many whiskers do you think a leopard has? What do you think?
Probably around 80.
80? I think more. I don't know. Kavya wants to know who decides all the names of the animals on andBeyond Ngala, guessing animals. Kavya, it's usually a mutual decision between the rangers and the trackers. So we will decide what we call them. So the language spoken here is Shingaan. And so what we try to do is give a lot of our animals local Shangar names. The prides, the lion prides, often what happens is we just call them from where they were first seen. So Birmingham Pride, born in Birmingham. And so that name sticks with the Birmingham Pride. Ross males comes from the Ross Pride, so we just call them the Ross males. I know certain other people give them other names. So we're going to stick with him for a little while, but for now, send you back to Trish, who's got another hyena at the hyena den.
Yes, I do. We've got Swazi coming to visit us now. I think he's going to be unhappy that this vehicle has a door, so he can't come lick the cable of my earpiece like he did last time. Oh. Oh, it looks like a piece of bone. Excellent work to find that bit of bone. Can you hear the sniffs? Just like that. I've noticed Swazi come to the den very often, and often goes to Ruben, greets her as he just did. And Ruben is very comfortable. Also lets the cubs nearby quite a bit. I'm very glad about this because it means that Ruben's getting very comfortable with the rest of the clan being around her cubs and us. Oh, we're coming back to say hello. Gosh, I miss these cubs so much. I spend so much time with them. From the time they were born to right now. Hey, you. I feel like that old lady that said, you were so small when you were just a year ago. You were so tiny. Lizzie, you say you're confused as why I could let a hyena get so cute close it would lick my earpiece. Not this part of my earpiece, just the cord. So you know in the other vehicles, this cord of the earpiece tucks in here. That's what you see us pull out every time. Hi. Hi. Photo. So this cord here hangs low near the foot area. And that's what was licked the last time I was here. Definitely not the part that goes into my ear, don't you worry. There's a Cokie Franklin in the background. Someone's having fun down the bottom there. Don't play with your cubs. Swazi is very curious about those cubs, which I think is just adorable. Those teeth too. I can just manage to see the spots on the belly, which are quite interesting because you don't normally see those. It's quite a nice pattern. Oh, look at those paws in the air. Oh, what have you seen? Still so curious about the world. Ah, there we go. There appears to be some bones there. Swazi's just grabbed a bone. Let's listen to see if we can hear the crunching. And that was the extent of the Swazi experience today. Hi, Wu Yang, you're 11 years old and you're from Malaysia. You would like to know if hyenas ever try to overthrow the matriarch, or do other packs come in? If you're talking about the matriarch, that does happen. In fact, that's what happened in this situation. The rank is not always, or the matriarch position is not always simply inherited. The rank is inherited while she is still matriarch, but that actual position doesn't necessarily have to be, even though it seems like a natural lead on. In fact, what we think was the day that Koki got overthrown by the pack, or by the clan, was actually right outside or near our rooms, near our camp. In fact, Louise, who's one of our directors, took a video of the whole commotion, and it's actually on her Instagram, I think. I'm quite sure it is. And you can go and have a look there, but it was quite a commotion. There was lots of squealing and things like that. Okay, Louise says it is, so you can go and look at her Instagram and you can see what had happened. Very difficult, of course, because it was dark. But there was quite a commotion, and that's why creating relationships and alliances is so important. Because say you are not high ranked, but you got enough friends who also think, let's overthrow this matriarch, then you can do it, depending on course of whether, on whether they all agree. And look, she's got probably a little wound there that those flies are all interested in. Okay, James is at a Buffelshoek. I wish him all the best to find Tlalamba, so let's go see how it's going.
Well, not a lot's going on, I must confess to you. We've done a whole big loop around. We'll probably do another loop around. The last time I found her, I just sat here until it was around about this time and she just arrived. She'd obviously been lying in a bush close by. Now, at 6 o'clock this evening, 1800 hours Central African time, the great Tristan Dix will be live again on Instagram, on the WildEarth official page. Does one have a page on Instagram? I'm not sure what one has on Instagram. Anyway, he'll be there discussing his magnificent photography, and I prompted him in the last one, or two nights ago, to give me some sort of technical details into one of the photographs he took, and I found it massively informative. So even if you are a relatively advanced photographer, I'm not, I'm a novice, but if you're a relatively advanced photographer, you can get some great tips and discuss things with Tristan. Alternatively, if you're just a novice and you want to learn something, that's also good. And if you just like his pictures, and you'd have to be fairly strange if you didn't, then you'll enjoy hearing the stories about how they were created and the stories behind the animals that feature in them. So that's Tristan Dix at 1800 hours Central African time on Instagram, the WildEarth official Instagram page, feed, thing, whatever it is. I had assumed that by now Tlalamba would have appeared while I did my punt. But no. Right, we shall do another loop around this part of the world. You're going to go back to Taylor, and she is looking at the mountains, the Dragon's Back.
How could we not stop and appreciate this beautiful sunset that we have this evening? Maybe James can show us his sunset in the Sabi Sand. It would be quite nice, but this one is at Korone. And I always say this, and I'm going to keep saying it, I think it's got the best view of the Drakensberg mountains. So that's one version of it. That's obviously where the sun has gone down. And now I shall be quiet so that you can all enjoy the peace and quiet, and hopefully we hear mating leopards in the background. Apparently I have the best sunset. That makes me very happy because I'm competitive. What we were trying to achieve this evening was racing down towards the open area where we had seen the mating pair of leopards on the sunrise safari, although it was very brief. I thought we might be able to get. Korone is, of course, 9,000 hectares, and you can imagine travelling from one side of the reserve to the other is quite a distance. And Chip Dam is actually not that far from where we needed to go in terms of the entire reserve size. But I don't think that we're going to manage to get there before the end of the show. But I'll try anyways. Last-minute leopards, always the best kind of leopard, I'd say. All we need now, I don't actually know what we need now. Bird flying, a nice silhouetted raptor, one last flight before it settles down for the evening. Or perhaps the Egyptian geese could come and have a war with a backdrop like this. That would be quite nice. Or Battalier. We actually had a great sighting of a Battalier this morning flying overhead. But sadly, all the birds have already settled in for the evening. And soon, the big cats are going to wake up. And I was hoping if we sit here for long enough, we'd get one walking straight down the road towards us, because there is a female leopard that lives in this area. There's a couple of dams along this road, and, well, today's not our day, but I reckon if we do this often enough, it'll be inevitable, and we'll get her walking down here. Occasionally you can also see fires up on the Drakensberg mountain. Alex and I were discussing them earlier. We'll keep an eye out for them. It looks pretty impressive when there are some fires up on the Drakensberg. Jerry, I'm very spoiled to live in such a beautiful country. South Africa is just unbelievable, and it's just filled with so much, from wildlife to some fantastic beaches, a bit of everything. Imagine what it must be like up on top of that mountain. If you're ever in the Hoedspruit area, I highly recommend going to visit Mariepskop, which is the highest of the peaks of the Drakensberg mountain in this area. It's about 1,900 hectares, not just over that, in fact, but not the highest peak on the Drakensberg. It's that point you'll find in Lesotho. One last view of the orange sky and the blue mountains. Let's go back to Tshala and see what the little cubs are up to.
And Taylor is certainly right. We are so lucky to live in such a beautiful, beautiful country. And we are even luckier, I think, as a company to be able to show you what this beautiful country has to offer. really stunning. So if you enjoyed these safaris and seeing our stunning country and everything in it, please do what you can and go to our support page. There should be some details coming up below your screen, and help us out so we can continue to do this. All these wonderful little babies we get to show you. Cheetah cubs, leopard cubs. Thandi with those leopard cubs have been very elusive, but hopefully we will find her, and hopefully you'll be on board when we do. Ribbon and her cubs, all of the little elephants that we get to play with. It's just an awesome time for us and an awesome time for you guys. I certainly love doing what I do. Like I said before, one of the most amazing things for me being archer is that you can see an animal from the time it's born to years until they have their own kids or their own youngsters, and it's just amazing, and you can be part of that and follow that too. You already are, actually, and without you, none of this is really as magical as it is with you all. George and Jack, you would like to know if there are any predators that would attack Ribbon's cubs. Generally, other predators, carnivorous predators, will attack hyena cubs if they came across them, just like hyenas would attack other predators' cubs if they came across them. And that's a result of trying to eliminate competition. It's a natural thing, it's an instinct. If a lion came across these cubs, if a leopard came across these cubs, given that they were out and about and there were no other hyenas around, they would attack them. Apart from the obvious ones, there's also aerial predators that these little hyena cubs have to be worried about. Things like a martial eagle, big, strong eagle with lots of sharp talons. There have actually been reports of a martial eagle taking hyena cubs before, so it can be done. So yes, they're vulnerable, like any youngster. Even youngsters that are born precocial, that means that they are born mobile, they can move, they have their eyes open, they can basically feed themselves. Even those animals, because they're young and small and inexperienced, are vulnerable. We're going to go into infrared now as the sun is starting to set, and we need to get a better look at Ribbon. Yay, there we go. I haven't heard a peep out of the den, and I think that maybe Davy was right. Davy said to me he thinks they've come and gone already. Occasionally Davy is right about stuff. I think he might be right this time. I haven't heard anything. I think they must be sound asleep. Yay! James has his spotlight out and I know what he's looking for. Let's go over and check if I'm correct.
Well, I'm looking for Talamba, of course. You know, it is quite astonishing, but yeah, it's a bit of termite mound, I think. See their own? Do you think it's termite mound? I mean, I'm 99.9999% sure there isn't a leopard on top of that termite mound there. No, it's not even termite mound, it's stick. Stick on termite mound. Fantastic sighting. Good job. Well done. It is my absolute favourite. Termite mound with stick. Beautiful evening. Oh! TGIF, Joe, you say? What are my plans tonight? I am going to go wild this evening, Joe. First thing I'm going to do is have supper in camp. Then we're going to have, well, I'm going to obviously have a very strong, powerful drink before supper in camp. Probably 3 or 4. Then I will probably, after dinner, go and put on my snazziest suit, whereupon I will head to the club. The club is called the Djuma Club, and there I'm going to drink heavily until the wee hours. I will dance and I will party like a mad banshee person until the wee hours. So that's my Friday night. Phew, it's going to be big. No, it isn't going to be very big. I think I will probably do exactly what I do every night, which is have supper, shoot the breeze with everyone in camp, eke out maybe another half glass of red wine, I think, then it'll all be finished. And then I will read Back to the Bush to those who wish to watch it. For those of you who don't know, I read to whoever wants to listen on Facebook every night at 8 o'clock. And then I'll probably go to bed. Maybe watch 20 minutes of something on Netflix. But that's about it. Oh, that's just too gorgeous. Look at that. Leopard schmeppard, you know. It is too gorgeous. Now, I know there are a lot of Cape Townians watching. Apparently my lapel is making a big noise that is not enjoyable. I don't know what to do about it. Is it better?
It stopped.
It's better now.
It is better.
Final control, is it better? Not better. As I was saying, those of you who live in Cape Town are very proud of your mountain. That mountain you're looking at there is even higher than your mountain. I know it's not backed by 2 oceans, but you can see that the wind is not howling on top of it. Beautiful. I'm not sure there's a better way to describe this than the dying embers of the day. Seems so appropriate. Owen's stomach is growling. And those lights there twinkling in the distance are from various villages, from Hoedspruit to the right, all the way down to Bushbuck Ridge on the left. And that is the home of the Shangaan people, largely. Laramore, you said this rivals Taylor Sky, which was pretty good. Yeah, well, slightly different time of the day. Taylor's, because it changes by the minute, of course. And Taylor is pretty much, if you look at the right-hand side of your screen there. In fact, just go a little bit further right, Owen, if you wouldn't mind. There, oh, that's fine. She's pretty much, if you come off the tallest mountain that you can see there, down, you see the next little hump, and then you see the lights in front of those. She's pretty much on a line between us and that area there. Yeah, about there. Middle of your screen. Hi, Taylor. Oh, goodness gracious me. Will the blessings of today never end? We are now going to go over to Marcel for his afternoon fact of the day, because unfortunately he wasn't able to give his morning fact of the day. Good luck, everybody. We'll continue our search. No. Marcel is now frozen, so unable to do his fact of the day, which means you're probably going to be subjected to 2 facts of the day yesterday. At least tomorrow, not yesterday. Something to get up for, hey? 2 Marcel facts of the day. Apparently we did get a fact this morning. So is he moving on to 2 facts a day? Oh, we didn't get a fact this morning. Kirsten's speaking some sort of millennial English into my ear. I don't understand her. I've got it now, though. There was no fact of the day this morning, but there will be tomorrow, maybe this evening. We're very lucky. We saw some distressed-looking impala here a little bit earlier. They've all gone. None of their friends are hanging in trees around here. Trishana has now left the hyena den, and maybe she will find a last-minute leopard up towards the clearings outside camp.
I hope that James will find her, but who knows? Spotlight is out, and yes, I have left the den. It's getting dark, and there really was no promise of us seeing the cubs. I did wait an extra couple minutes, but nothing. I also didn't hear anything, and usually when they're awake in the den, you can hear little squeals, of which I had none. So I'm actually on Rebecca's road, so I thought we still have a bit of time. And quarantine is quite close to camp, so I thought I'd use this way to go up to camp. It's been a long time since I've been on this road in the evening. And believe it or not, it does make a difference, because perhaps I would find a you-know-what. Apart from a chameleon. Apart from a leopard. Oh, I gave it away. Never mind. Chameleons on the mind, everyone. Chameleons on the mind. But it is getting cooler now. With the cooler weather, you'll find that they'll find a bit of a slightly warmer spot to try and keep warm now. Anyway, apparently the lovely Marcel, please tell him I say hello when you go to him, has got a fact ready for you for this evening. So let's go see what it is today.
Right, so I need to apologize for depriving all of you from the mid-morning fun fact from Marcel. It's just this morning turned out a little bit too busy. We came across around the corner and there was a leopard, and so what can you do? Then this afternoon, what we had to do now is the female leopard went around and the male leopard came and saw her, and they actually jumped into the drainage line. We didn't see the meeting, so you guys didn't miss out on anything, and then from there we couldn't find them again. So what we thought we'll do is give you a late afternoon fun fact from Marcel, which is love. This is a better ring to it than. There you go.
Thanks, Ron. Oh, sorry. Okay, so Reinhold Messner is a German-speaking Italian citizen. I'll explain why. I'm out of sync, so I look like a badly dubbed foreign movie. I apologize about that. Reinhold Messner is a German-speaking Italian citizen, and he was the first person to summit all 14 8,000-meter peaks on Earth. He's also the first person to summit Mount Everest solo, and he, together with Peter Habeler, he was the first person to summit Mount Everest without the use of supplemental oxygen. The reason why he's a German-speaking Italian citizen is he comes from a region, Südtirol. Now, Südtirol in 1915, with the Treaty of London, was offered to Italy as an incentive for Italy to join the Allies in World War I. And then in 1918, it was occupied by Italy. It used to be part of Austria-Hungary. And then in 1919, it was finally annexed by the Kingdom of Italy. Thanks.
Don't you think this background looks like a green screen? It's completely fake. All right, so thanks for that, Marcel. Now we're going to send you back over to James, who wants to say good night to all of you. From our side, andBeyond and Ngala, have a pleasant evening.
Goodbye. No, I wouldn't say goodbye to you like that. We are now driving home. We have sadly hoping that Columba will pitch up on this road. She didn't pitch up the dam, so maybe tomorrow night she will pitch. Turn the lights off so the Impala don't freak out completely. Of the day, so lucky dubbed movie. It's quite amusing. I'm just going to drive past you. There we are. There we are. Done. Like a robot there. Yeah, I can do. 2 minutes to find a leopard. Or a lion. Or a bush bay. I've seen bush bay. Fun. Don't forget Tristan Dix at 6 o'clock. Lovely stories, great storyteller, great pictures, and really nice tips if you want to learn how to take pictures. And everybody is now greeting each other, saying, have a lovely evening. There's the diker, quickly. Oh, don't run. Please don't run. Please stay where you are. Oh, don't we have any IR light? No, we have to plug it in as well. All right, that's on. All right. That was a diker, everybody. You may have seen a sort of slightly pixelated shape going off. Eric would like to see a last-minute koala bear. Well, that should be pretty easy. Thank you, Eric. I'll do my best to find you a last 30-second koala bear. I think we'll just have to do it all again tomorrow. And as I said to you earlier, it is a wonderful privilege to have any kind of work this time, and even more special to be with all of you out in the African wilderness. So thank you for your questions and comments. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning. Until then, bye-bye.